I'm going to talk about the Asian Champions League 2. Finally. So, truth be told, I wasn't ever planning on doing a video about the ACL 2. This isn't because I think it's a rubbish tournament that isn't worth my time, but more because I don't have the time. However, there have been so many requests for me to do a video about this tournament that I can no longer avoid it. I have to do a video. This video is going to follow a format quite different from my other ones. This is because you, the viewer, wanted this video, and as a result, I think it's way more fitting that I, rather than follow a script that I have written, instead respond directly to your comments. You wanted me to talk about ACL 2. Well, I'm going to talk about the ACL 2 how you guys want it. Comment number 1. Tampines Rovers, low-key cooking. 100% agree, they're cemented on right now to actually make the knockout stages. Tampines Rovers have actually had a rough time recently. Their chairman, Desmond Ong, left this summer. Kyoga Nakamura and Boris Kopitovic also left. Kopitovic, being an absolutely insane player, by the way, scored 93 goals in 107 league appearances for Tampines Rovers. And possibly one of the biggest changes to the club was the departure of Gavin Lee, who has now gone on to become the interim manager of Singapore. And I'm sure that hurt for a lot of Tampines Rovers fans, because Lee had been manager since 2019 and was the assistant manager from 2017. In the 24-25 season, Gavin Lee led Tampines Rovers on a 14-game streak without a single loss. Only 5 of those were draws, by the way. They went on to finish second in the league that season. They were knocked out of the ACL 2 at the group stages, and they lost the Singapore Cup final. But yeah, Lee departed the club, as did many of the main players, so coming into this new season, things looked rather bleak. But actually, in the ACL 2, they're flying. They beat Kaya FC 3-0 away, then they beat Pathum United 2-1. I'm kind of liking this Glenn Quer guy. I don't think he's out of this world, but he's not a bad winger, to be honest. And apparently he can play left back. Not sure how much I believe that, but interesting detail. Trent Buhagiar looks pretty good as well. He's got 3 goals in 4 games this season. Yoshimoto has looked like a decent signing too. On the other hand, Tala Ndao, I don't think he's looked that good. He is on a 1-year contract though, and he did come in as a free agent, so you're not losing anything if he turns out to be completely worthless. But at the moment, I don't see much good coming from him so far. It's going to be interesting to see how this new team gels with one another. Time will tell how well Tampines Rovers will do. In the ACL 2 though, things look mostly fine. I'm a little bit concerned about Sumi because against Pathum United, he wasn't very good. The defending on display was shocking. He moves so slowly, he turns like a semi-truck. Not too convinced by this guy quite yet, but maybe he has something in the locker that I haven't seen. I think Tampines are also lacking a good right back because in that same game, Najib was, in my opinion, not great at all. Always out of position, never tracking his man. From everything that I've seen of him in the ACL 2, he has been poor. And if I was a team looking to play against Tampines, I would put as much pressure on the right side as possible. Glenn Quer looks fine, but in terms of the effort he puts in defensively, I don't think it's anything particularly impressive. He looks to tuck inside anyway outside of possession, which I don't fully understand. Then of course Sumi, as I described, is not particularly good. And Najib, yeah, out of possession, he's also always out of position. That game against Pathum United actually wasn't that great for Tampines. They were under a lot of pressure throughout the game, and if Pathum United had a striker who could actually behave like a striker, i.e. be in the right positions and actually finish, then the game might have been quite different. That being said, Tampines put about 1 million men behind the ball, and every time Pathum United would attack, every Tampines player would just teleport into the box, which obviously worked here because it meant Pathum United were forced to shoot from distance and cross from deep, which Tampines could easily defend for the most part, but it makes counter-attacking a lot more difficult. And as I mentioned before, because they're out of possession so often, you become quite vulnerable. That's probably one of my biggest points of concern for Tampines. Or is it? Because it is this exact tactic that led them to a massive win against Pohang Steelers, who they beat 1-0. That Higashikawa goal is mint. It's actually, I love it so much. Great bit of direct football. It's a bit of strength from Higashikawa and a little bit of trickery. Great finish. Big fan. I think Tampines, they got a great player here on their hands. Everything that I highlighted about Tampines Rovers as a potential weakness is actually not a weakness whatsoever. Yeah, sure, I picked on a few players and said they weren't good enough, but tactically, Noel Radman knows that he doesn't have the type of players where he can play interesting, exciting, expansive football. Not that you see it that much in Asia anyway, but my point still stands. He also definitely knows 100% that when he plays against these bigger teams, if you're going to fight for possession and try and dictate the play, it is just football suicide. You have to have some level of tactical pragmatism here. The funniest part is that they nearly did it again over Pohang using the exact same strategy. Like, they were so close to doing the exact same. The Brexit terrorism football, winning all of that, it's amazing. I'm a big fan. Higashikawa again on the reverse fixture, I was a big fan as well. He had a really good game. A couple personal highlights of Tampines so far. I loved Bahagiar's second goal against Kaya FC. It's just so good. The way he bends that towards the far post, it's just so satisfying. Bahagiar, once again, his diving header against Pathum United was also very nice, and it was actually a very nice assist from Kazama, who has also been very good for them. These results show that terrorism football does work. So yeah, Tampines Rovers, as the comment suggested, they're absolutely cooking. And also, side note, I had no idea, by the way, Jermaine Pennant played for Tampines Rovers. I genuinely had no idea. Yeah, a bit of a side quest, piece of knowledge for you, in case you care about Jermaine Pennant. Comment number 2. If you spend at least 3 minutes talking about Persib, Indonesians will flock to you in droves. Well, it's a good thing that I love Indonesia. Disclaimer, by the way, I love all ASEAN countries equally, so please Malaysians, do not hurt me because I said I love Indonesia. Persib are currently unbeaten in the CSL 2 so far, which is pretty impressive. Their group isn't the easiest. Lion City Sailors are pretty good. Bangkok United, arguably even better. So to be top of the group without a single loss or a draw is very nice. That being said though, they do have a really stacked squad, so you could argue that this is almost the expectation. I'm a big fan of some of their players. They've got Ramdani, Eliano Reinders, Mark Klock, Luciano Goicoechea, William. However, they do also have some absolute stinkers in this team. That Ramon guy, can a Persib fan tell me if he's actually good? Because from everything that I've seen, he absolutely stinks. So I need a Persib fan to get back to me and verify if this guy is actually good or not. And they also have Beckham Putra too. I know he plays for the national team, but I don't think is particularly great. We do have to ask the question though, how much of Persib's success in the ACL 2 is down to the fact that they are playing against teams that are poorer than them? Selangor are bottom of the group with 0 wins. When Persib played against Bangkok, I don't think they looked particularly good, and when they played against Lion City Sailors, I wasn't particularly impressed either. Hear me out. If they played against a team with even an ounce of attacking threat, surely they would crumble. It would be really interesting to see Persib play against a team that is equally as strong as them, because when I see their games against the other 3 in the group, they look by far and away the better side. Mainly because they actually score goals. It's a group full of teams that do not score a lot of goals. The only fixtures that consistently have lots of goals in them is anything that involves Selangor. 4 losses on the bounce for them, -7 goal difference. That isn't actually that bad for 4 losses in a row. You'd think it'd be like -14 or something. And the reason why it's like that, it's because Selangor score goals as well. So if you want an entertaining game in Group G, just watch Selangor. Although there won't be much to watch anymore. They're already out. Comment number 3. Seeing Selangor FC performance, I just laugh. Fair enough, I mean, I just broke down that they're terrible, so yeah, I understand. But some of their games, genuinely, are just insane. So their first ACL 2 game was against Bangkok. They concede first to one of the stupidest goals ever. Al Haft shoots point blank at the keeper who saves it. So Al Haft responds by just standing up and shooting again at point blank range. Honestly, it's like cartoonishly funny. You need to go see this goal. The second goal they concede is honestly just a good goal. I can't make fun there. Then, after some pretty terrible defending from Bangkok United, Selangor score a pretty decent goal, and suddenly they're back in the game, and I'm wondering, can they make it 2-2? You never know. Oh, wait, never mind, no. They can't, because they then go and concede one of the biggest deflected goals I've ever seen. Yeah, if I was the keeper, I'd also be dead confused. I don't know what I'd do either. Then they get a man sent off, it's a straight red. But the game is not over. Selangor do not give up. In the 70th minute, they make it 3-2 after building the pressure and scoring from a quick counter-attack. So the game is back on. Again. Except Bangkok then immediately score from a corner. And the game ends 4-2. Cinema. And that is essentially the story of Selangor in the ACL 2. They score some good goals, they have some rapid counter-attacks, it's pretty decent. Sure, it takes a few attempts before they can score, but they're usually on top of things, it's pretty normal for this level of football. But every time they do something good, they then proceed to shoot themselves in the foot with some of the funniest defending you'll ever see. I could say bad defending, I could say terrible defending, but really, it's funny defending. They had 68% of the possession against Lion City Sailors, and they were 4-1 down by half-time. Genuinely, what is wrong with this team? Their match against Persib Bandung last week, though, is probably the epitome of what Selangor goes through. After just 2 minutes, Selangor are 2-0 up against Persib, the group leaders. You think they might finally get some points on the board. After half-time, Persib make it 2-1 after some genuinely comical defending from Selangor. The defenders quite literally assisted Young's goal. And then from then on, they are just getting hammered over and over and over and over again by Persib. You think, okay, well, every team in this group plays defensive terrorism football. Selangor, they can just try the same thing and they might be able to see it through, right? No. Not at all, not even a little bit. 80th minute, they get caught in transition at the halfway line, and they get caught in a 4v3 scenario, and then concede to make it 2-2. How have you let this happen? There's 10 minutes of the game to go. How have you let this happen? Well, you know what? A draw still gets you a point. That's better than nothing. So 2-2 is not the most offensive result ever. Well, in the 97th minute, Buriram passes it back to the goalkeeper whilst under pressure from two separate attackers. The keeper then fails to clear it properly and it falls straight to the Persib attacker who scores. And by the way, when I say clear it properly, I don't mean he booted it and it hit the face of the rushing attacker and he's up to score. I mean he got zero connection with the ball and it just bounced off the foot of the Persib attacker. He didn't even really finish, to be honest. It just sort of happened. I'm not joking, it's so funny. Please just watch the highlights after you're done watching this video, honestly. Comment number 4. Do you feel like the bigger nations should get more slots? Japan, Korea, China? Hard no, absolutely not. The ACL 2 used to be the ACL Cup, which was for teams from countries that did not have direct qualifying spots for the Champions League. This format was binned in favour of what it is now, which is why there are in fact a handful of Japanese, Chinese, Korean and Australian teams. This season there is only one club from each of those countries, with the rest being from smaller countries like the Philippines and Hong Kong. It makes for some really interesting competition, and I think it's generally a good tournament for these smaller clubs. I really like it. The thing is though, is that if we gave Japan, South Korea and China more slots, then whose slots are they taking? Hong Kong, Vietnam, Singapore and Thailand have 2 slots each for the group stage. Do we have to take one off of each of them and give them to Japan, Korea and China? I don't think that's a good idea. It would make the tournament overall less fair for the smaller teams, and it ends up just becoming a sort of feeder league for the Champions League elite, rather than its separate tournament with its own identity. In the Champions League elite, Japan and Korea get 3 slots each. China then gets 2, which only leaves space for 3 other countries, so the variety is already really low. Now, my fix would be to split West and East, firstly for reasons that I outline in this video, but also because it would allow for more club variety on both West and East. So the variety in the current Champions League elite is really low because there are only 13 teams in each region, which means that the higher weighted teams get nearly half of the group representation. Now, Japan, Korea, Qatar and Saudi Arabia should have the highest weightings because of their rankings and their domestic rankings, everything like that. But because the ACL has to be split into 2 groups, they essentially just swallow all of the positions. Now, imagine if the ACL was 2 separate tournaments. You could then have an East ACL that has more than just 13 clubs. You could expand it up to, let's say hypothetically, 36 teams. Then we add the teams from the ACL 2. So that would take us to 28 clubs. With the clubs that we have, that would be 4 Japanese clubs, 4 South Korean clubs, 3 Chinese, 2 Thai, 2 Australian, 2 Malaysian, 2 Vietnamese, 2 Hong Kong, 2 Singaporean, and 1 Filipino. Then, instead of making Indonesia go through the playoffs, I would give them 1 guaranteed slot. Instead of a slot for the losers of the ACL playoff, you can just give an additional slot to another country. So now there are 29 guaranteed teams. We have 7 more slots that we can give out. I would give Thailand 1 extra slot, so they can have the same amount as China. This is because both Thailand and China's rankings are quite similar. So that takes us to 30. 1 slot will go to the winners of the ACL 2. That takes us to 31. There's 5 slots left, which I would designate for playoff winners. Boom! A 36-team East Asian Champions League right there. Now, if OFC was merged with the AFC, then I would give 1 slot to the New Zealand team. Then, with the 4 slots for playoff winners, 3 of them can be from any AFC team via normal playoff formats, but then 1 of them can come from a playoff between only OFC teams. Okay, so I was editing the video and I've noticed a pretty big issue, which is that there are not 36 teams here. I totally miscounted. So what I would do is give an additional slot to Indonesia and the Philippines, and then the final slot can go towards another OFC playoff spot. That's what I think I would do. But you guys will have to tell me in the comments below whether you think this is actually a good idea or not. It could age very terribly. So what I want you guys to do is comment below how you would structure a 36-team East Asian Champions League. Would you guys do it similar to mine, or is my version a little bit boring? It's just something to mess about and think about. But like I said, I want to see your East Asian Champions League formats. I really love making these hypothetical scenarios. I think it's a lot of fun. So show me yours, because I love to see what you guys have cooking. But that was my very belated and short video about the ACL 2. Now in future I will make more videos about the ACL 2. What I'll do is I'll make a community post on the channel, and then you can comment on that post with your demands about the ACL 2, and I will do it. Finally, I want to say thank you for 500 subscribers. I had no idea how quickly this channel would grow. So to reach 500 subscribers this quickly is amazing, and I am so grateful for all of your support. The thing I am most grateful for is the number of comments that you guys put on the videos. Not only does it help me improve my content because of the feedback that you guys give, but it also helps me achieve my mission with this channel. The goal of this channel from the beginning was to create an English language YouTube channel which covers Asian football. There is so much English language content about European football, about the Premier League, about the Champions League, the World Cup, all these different things, even AFCON, even non-European tournaments have so much English language content, but it's never Asia. Asia's always left behind. That's why I made this channel. I want to try and fill that gap. As somebody who grew up in the UK, who didn't really know that much about Asian football, even though I am Asian, I had no access to any online English language content to find out about what's happening in Asian football. That's the point of this channel, is to make sure that future Asian football fans have access to some sort of media and news about what's going on in Asia. You guys commenting and having debates really helps make the community that I strive to create. So thank you so much for watching, commenting, and subscribing. And as always, see you later.